Listen closely. Every single morning, you walk into your bathroom and you flush away the most important medical report card of your life without ever glancing at it. You have been conditioned by a sanitized society to believe that your digestion is a private matter, something to be ignored or embarrassed by, but I am telling you that your stool is the only real-time window you have into the state of your internal biological decay. If you are over the age of 60 and your stool has begun to change its shape, its color, or its consistency, you are not just getting older, you are receiving a high intensity warning signal from your colon that your biological clock is ticking toward a final hour. Right now, there is a specific visual marker, a shape and a texture that indicates your large intestine is no longer a site of nutrient absorption, but a site of advanced obstruction and potential malignancy. If your stool looks like what I am about to describe, you may have as little as 2 weeks to act before a manageable polyp becomes an inoperable catastrophe that ends your independence forever. I am here to expose the normal digestion lie and reveal the specific stool warning signs that every senior must monitor with clinical precision. We must start with the biological reality of the aging gut. Your colon is a 25-foot long muscle-bound tube designed to extract water and minerals while processing the waste products of your metabolism. In a younger body, the transit time is rapid, the mucosal lining is thick, and the muscular contractions, what we call peristalsis, are powerful. But after 60, your transit time slows down. The waste stays in your system longer, where it begins to ferment and putrefy. This creates a toxic sludge that bathes your intestinal wall in pro-inflammatory chemicals for 24 hours a day. When this happens, the cells of your colon lining begin to mutate. They develop small growths called polyps. For years, these polyps are silent. But the moment they grow large enough to change the shape of your stool, the warning has moved from a whisper to a scream. This leads us to the primary clinical marker of danger, the pencil stool. If your stool has become noticeably thinner, long, narrow, and ribbon-like, you are looking at a physical cast of an obstruction. Your colon is a tube. If that tube is open, the stool is wide. If that tube is being squeezed by a growing mass, the stool is forced through a narrow opening. You are not constipated, you are obstructed. This is the 2-week window. If you see pencil-thin stool consistently for 14 days, you are not dealing with a fiber deficiency. You are dealing with a structural blockage that requires immediate clinical intervention. Most practitioners will tell you to take a stool softener. They are effectively handing you a shovel to bury yourself. Most nutritionists will tell you to eat more whole grains. They are being dangerously incompetent, as the lectins in those grains will only further inflame the site of the mass. I am telling you that the shape of your waist is the shape of your future. The second marker we must discuss is tarry, black stool, known clinically as melena. Most of you look for bright red blood. Bright red blood is often just hemorrhoids, a nuisance, but rarely a death sentence. The real assassin is the blood you cannot see as red. When blood originates in the upper part of your colon or your small intestine, it is digested by your stomach acid and your gut bacteria. It turns the stool into a thick, sticky, jet black tar. If your stool looks like used motor oil, you have an internal bleed that is being masked by the digestive process. This is the sign of a necrotic mass, a tumor that is outgrowing its own blood supply and beginning to bleed into your lumen. You are effectively rotting from the inside, and your body is trying to tell you through the color of your waste. The third and most overlooked sign is clay-colored or pale stool. This has nothing to do with the colon itself and everything to do with your biliary system, your liver, and your gallbladder. Your stool is brown because of stercobilin, a byproduct of bile. If your stool is pale, gray, or clay-colored, it means bile is not reaching your gut. This is the biliary blockade. It means your liver is so congested with toxic seed oils and fructose that it can no longer produce or flow the very fluid required to digest your fats. If you cannot flow bile, you cannot absorb vitamin K2, vitamin D3, or vitamin A. You are becoming malnourished while eating a surplus of calories. But more importantly, a lack of bile means your colon is no longer being disinfected. Bile is your internal detergent. Without it, the pathogenic bacteria, the ones that trigger cancer-causing inflammation, overrun your microbiome. Your pale stool is a sign that your internal sanitation has failed. To understand the depth of this failure, we must look at the anatomy of the mucosal barrier. Your colon is lined with a thin layer of mucus that acts as a Teflon coating. It prevents bacteria and toxins from touching your actual flesh. As you age, and especially if you consume toxic gluten and processed dairy, this Teflon coating wears thin. This leads to leaky gut, clinically known as increased intestinal permeability. When your gut leaks, lipopolysaccharides or LPS, toxic fragments of bacteria, enter your bloodstream. These LPS fragments travel to your liver, your heart, and your brain. They trigger systemic inflammation. This is why you have joint pain. This is why you have brain fog. It all starts with the failure of the mucosal Teflon in your gut. If your stool is covered in visible mucus, looking like a jelly-like coating, it means your body is in a state of hypersecretory defense. Your colon is trying to produce more mucus to protect itself from the fire of your diet. You are looking at a gut on fire. To stop this rot, you must move away from cleansing gimmicks and toward a clinical re-engineering of your digestive terrain. You must trigger your biliary system to flow bile. You will do this by consuming bitter compounds 15 minutes before your protein anchor breakfast. Arugula, dandelion greens, or steamed bitter melon will signal your gallbladder to squeeze. We must flush the biliary sludge before the food arrives. This ensures that when you eat, the bile is there to absorb nutrients and protect the colon wall. Most of you are taking probiotics in a pill. This is strategically stupid. Most of those bacteria are dead before they reach your colon, and even if they survive, they cannot colonize a sludge-filled gut. You must provide prebiotic scaffolding. You will use resistant starch, specifically cooked and cooled potatoes or green bananas. When starch is cooled, it changes its molecular structure. It becomes indigestible to you, but it is a feast for your beneficial bacteria, like bifidobacterium. These bacteria ferment the starch into butyrate. Butyrate is the holy grail of colon health. It is the primary fuel for your colon cells. It heals the leaky gut. It rebuilds the Teflon coating. It kills mutated cancer cells on contact through a process called apoptosis. You are literally manufacturing your own anti-cancer medicine inside your own colon, but only if you provide the resistant starch scaffolding. We must also address the oxalate factor. Oxalates are glass shards. If you are eating raw spinach, those shards are not just shredding your kidneys, they are shredding your colon lining. They are creating microscopic wounds that become the entry points for mutation. You must steam your greens. You must disarm the plant's weapons. Let's talk about the buoyancy of your health. Does your stool sink or float? If your stool floats consistently, you are not healthy. You are malabsorbing fats. You have steatorrhea. The fat you are eating is staying in the stool, where it becomes rancid and feeds pathogenic bacteria. Your floater is a sign of biliary failure. It is a sign that you are starving for fat-soluble vitamins. A healthy stool should be a slow sinker. It should have enough fiber to be structured, but enough density to sink. If you are a floater, you must increase your bile flow immediately. We must also address the frequency lie. You've been told that one bowel movement every 2 or 3 days is normal for some people. This is a lethal lie. If you eat 3 times a day, you must eliminate at least once a day, ideally twice. If you are not eliminating daily, you are reabsorbing your own waste. Your colon is a trash can, not a storage unit. If you leave the trash in the house for 3 days in the summer heat, the fumes will toxicify the entire building. Those fumes are endotoxins. They cross the thin mucosal barrier and enter your liver. This is the primary driver of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease in seniors. You aren't a drinker, you are just constipated. By following a hydration protocol of warm water, sea salt, and lemon, you provide the fluid pressure required to move the trash out. You are power washing the system. Let's talk about the red flag of mucus. If you see white or yellowish mucus in your stool, your immune system is engaged in the gut. You have colitis, inflammation of the colon. This is often triggered by industrial seed oils and modern wheat. These substances contain zonulin triggers that pry open the tight junctions of your gut wall. Once those junctions are open, the battle begins. Chronic colitis is the soil in which colon cancer grows. You cannot fix the cancer if you do not extinguish the fire of the inflammation. You must go seed oil free for the rest of your life. Replace them with extra virgin olive oil, which contains oleuropein, a compound that has been shown to actively shrink colon polyps. We are marinating your colon in anti-inflammatory oil instead of frying it in toxic sludge. Let's examine the anatomy of the sigmoid colon. This is the S-shaped part of your gut just before the rectum. This is where 90% of senior colon cancers occur. Why? Because this is the waiting room for your waste. This is where the stool sits the longest. If your stool is dry, hard, and pebble-like, it is because the stool has been sitting in the sigmoid waiting room for too long, and the colon has sucked all the water out of it. These hard pebbles act like sandpaper on the sigmoid lining. They create diverticula, small pouches that become infected. But more dangerously, the chronic friction triggers cellular hyperplasia, the rapid, uncontrolled growth of cells to repair the friction damage. This is the birthplace of the tumor. You must soften the stool using activated hydration and magnesium glycinate. Magnesium pulls water into the colon, creating a soft casting. You want your stool to glide through the sigmoid waiting room, like a ship through a canal, not like a rock through a pipe. Colon cancer is a slow killer, but the transition from partial obstruction to total obstruction is rapid. If you have noticed the pencil stool or the terry color, you are in the pre-occlusion phase. Within weeks, the tumor can grow large enough to completely close the tube. When that happens, your abdomen distends, you begin to vomit waste, and you enter a state of septic emergency. The 2-week window is your chance to have a scheduled procedure instead of an emergency resection. It is the difference between a small scar and a permanent bag. I am telling you to look in the toilet today. Do not wait for the pain. Colon cancer has no nerves in the early stages. It does not hurt until it is pressing against your spine or your liver. Your pain is the stool. Your pain is the pencil shape. Your pain is the motor oil color. Let's look at the 7-day colon realignment. For the first 3 days, you must start the bitter flush, arugula, before every meal. You stop all seed oils and all raw green smoothies. You begin the activated hydration of warm water, sea salt, and lemon. You will notice that your morning elimination becomes more effortless. You are no longer straining. Straining causes internal pressure that triggers hiatal hernias and hemorrhoids. We are looking for passive evacuation. For the following 4 days, you introduce the resistant starch anchor, 1 cold potato or half a green banana with your protein breakfast. You will notice that your stool becomes more structured. It gains volume. This is the sign that your butyrate factories are back online. You are fueling your colon cells. You are sealing the leaks. By the end of this week, you will wake up with a flat stomach and a level of energy you haven't felt since your 50s. You have drained the swamp. You have restored the Teflon. You are now a high-efficiency human. If you go for a colonoscopy and they find polyps, do not be a victim. Ask the practitioner about the pathology and the dysplasia, and then double down on your internal strategy. Polyps grow in toxic soil. You have the power to change that soil. By saturating your gut with butyrate, vitamin K2, and biliary flow, you are making the soil toxic to the cancer and fertile for the host. I have seen individuals whose follow-up colonoscopies showed a total reversal of inflammatory markers. The system wants you to believe you are powerless against your genes. I am telling you that your epigenetics, the way your genes are expressed, is controlled by the instructions you give your body every morning. If you give it pencil-thin instructions, you get decay. If you give it butyrate instructions, you get life. Let's address the fiber myth. You've been told to eat more fiber to stop constipation, but there are 2 types of fiber, soluble and insoluble. Insoluble fiber, the hulls of grains, is like steel wool to an inflamed senior gut. It creates more microtears. You need soluble fiber, the pectin in citrus and the mucilage in okra and sea moss. This fiber creates a gel that lubricates the pipe. It is the silk to the steel wool. We use strategic fiber to move the waste without scouring the lining. Precision matters when the margin of error is thin. You do not need a lab to tell you that your gut is failing. You have a diagnostic center in your bathroom. You must be the lead scientist of your own waste. You must document the changes. You must correlate the pencil shape with the seed oil you ate the night before. You must become the strategist. You are the CEO of your own physical health, and your waste disposal department is currently on the verge of bankruptcy. I am here to restructure the debt. I am here to inject capital in the form of bile and butyrate. We are going to save the operation. Let's look at the stool warning of blood one more time. If you see blood that is maroon or dark red, it is a middle gut bleed. This is the sign of angiodysplasia, brittle, breaking blood vessels in the colon wall. This is driven by low vitamin C and low silicon. Your vessels are snapping because they lack tensile strength. By following a vision and vascular protocol with morning fruit and vitamin C cofactors, you are also strengthening the walls of your gut. You are stopping the leaks before they start. It is a total system hardening. We don't just fix a polyp, we reinforce the architecture. The standard modern diet is designed to create a constipated, inflamed senior. Why? Because a constipated senior needs laxatives. An inflamed senior needs anti-inflammatories, and a cancerous senior needs chemotherapy. I am telling you to boycott the system by having a perfect stool. A perfect stool is the ultimate act of medical rebellion. It is the proof that you are unprofitable because you are strategically balanced. That is the pride of an informed senior. We are the ones who sink our stool and save our sight. We are the ones who flow our bile and fix our bones. Join the elite. Reject the managed rot. A type 4 stool, a smooth, continuous sausage, means your transit time is between 24 and 36 hours. This is the optimal window. If your transit time is over 48 hours, the trash is sitting too long. If it is under 12 hours, the inflow is too fast and you are not absorbing. Type 4 is the goal. You achieve this by balancing activated water, protein anchors, and resistant starch. I am not suggesting you watch for these signs. I am commanding you to act on them. If you see the pencil, if you see the tar, seek clinical guidance immediately. But while you wait, you must change the instructions. You must start the flush. You must start the resistant starch. You must give your body the defense it needs to fight whatever is growing. Do not be a passive victim. Be a clinical combatant. Your colon is your fortress. Do not let the barbarians of inflammation and mutation take the walls. To understand the depth of this fight, we must examine the biochemistry of short-chain fatty acids, or SCFAs. These molecules, acetate, propionate, and butyrate, are the currency of your gut health. Acetate travels to your brain and suppresses appetite. Propionate travels to your liver and lowers cholesterol. And butyrate stays in the colon to prevent cancer. If you are eating refined flour, you are bankrupt in this currency. You have zero balance in your SCFA account. This is why you are hungry, why you have high cholesterol, and why you are high risk. By adding the resistant starch anchor, you are making a massive deposit into your biological wealth. You are funding your own recovery. This is the financial strategy of longevity. We are also looking at the microanatomy of the villi. These are the finger-like projections in your small intestine that absorb nutrients. As you age, these villi blunt. They become flat like a mown lawn. This is atrophy. It is driven by toxic lectins found in raw beans and nightshades. We remove the lectin load and provide the glutamine from your egg anchor to regrow the lawn. We are maximizing your absorption surface area. We are making you efficient again. We do not just eat healthily, we engineer absorption. We optimize flow, we command regeneration. To further this engineering, we must look at the enteric nervous system, often called the second brain. Your gut has more neurons than your spinal cord. These neurons control the migrating motor complex, the internal sweeping mechanism that cleans your gut between meals. When you snack constantly, you turn off the sweeper. You leave the crumbs on the floor, and those crumbs feed the small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or SIBO, that causes the bloating and the gas that precedes the mutation. You must honor the fast. You must allow the second brain to clean the house. This is the level of precision required for the long game. We must also examine the impact of bile salts on the colon's pH. Pathogenic bacteria thrive in a neutral or slightly alkaline colon. Beneficial bacteria, however, require an acidic environment. Bile, while alkaline when it leaves the liver, triggers the production of organic acids by your beneficial microbes. This acidifies the colon, creating a biological shield that prevents cancer cells from taking root. When you have clay-colored stool, your colon pH rises, the shield drops, and the mutation begins. By following the bitter flush protocol, you are restoring the acidic shield. You are using chemistry to defend your flesh. This is the microscopic reality of your independence. You must also understand the role of the hepatic portal system. Every molecule absorbed by your colon goes directly to your liver through this portal vein. If your colon is full of putrefying waste, your liver is being bombarded with cadaverine and putrescine, toxic amines from decaying protein. This is what creates the dark circles under your eyes and the brown age spots on your skin. These are not signs of time, They are signs of a dirty portal vein. By clearing the colon, you clear the liver. By clearing the liver, you clear the skin. You are literally washing your face from the inside out. This is the beauty of clinical integration. Let's talk about the role of magnesium in peristalsis. The muscles of your colon require magnesium to relax after a contraction. If you are deficient, your colon stays in a state of spasm. This leads to the pebble-like stool and the development of diverticula. Magnesium glycinate is the mineral of flow. It allows the colon to expand and contract in a rhythmic wave. Without this wave, you are relying on gravity and straining. Straining increases the pressure in your cerebral vessels, which is why many strokes occur on the toilet. Do not risk your brain to move your bowels. Use the magnesium. Use the hydration. Ensure the wave is powerful and smooth. We must also discuss the role of thyroid hormone in gut motility. Many seniors have subclinical hypothyroidism where the thyroid is slow. This slows down the migrating motor complex and leads to chronic constipation. If your body temperature is consistently below 97.8 degrees in the morning, your gut is likely operating in slow motion. We use the trace minerals in sea salt and the selenium in your protein anchor to support the thyroid. We are turning up the thermostat of your metabolism to ensure the trash is moved out on time. You are a biological machine that requires specific inputs to maintain its output. If you ignore the inputs, the machine grinds to a halt. If you honor the inputs, the machine runs for a century. The pencil stool is a signal, the tar is a signal, the clay is a signal. You now have the translator to understand what your waste is telling you. Use this knowledge with the ruthlessness that survival demands. You are not a victim of age, you are a victim of misinformation. Today, that ends. You are now the strategist of your own intestinal terrain. Act with the authority that this masterclass has provided. Reclaim your filters, reclaim your frame, reclaim your life. This is Dr. Robert Lee, and I'm telling you what the mainstream system is too afraid to say. Your life is in the toilet, and it is your job to pull it out. The warning signs have been exposed. The protocol has been established. The choice is now yours. Rebuild your gut, rebuild your strength, reclaim your crown. Stand tall, stand strong. Your colon is waiting for the restoration. Give it to them. Reclaim your health, reclaim your dignity, reclaim your future. I will see you on the trail with a flat stomach and a heart of steel. This is the final word on the stool warning. Everything else is just waste. This is survival, absolute certainty, absolute results. The strategy is set. Now, dominate. Your system is ready. The construction is underway. The transformation is inevitable. You are the authority. Rebuild your crown. The end.